Hi there, Adam Franklin here. And look, what I want to do today is introduce you to this concept of three different orbits of your digital marketing. So let me just draw it out in a quite simple format. What we've got is that we have our sort of initial orbit down here in this circle. And what this is all about is when you're basically starting from a fairly like starting not from scratch, but you haven't really done that much digital marketing yet, then this is all about having to actually, let me just write this out properly. You've actually got to find your own audience. So find your prospects online. So this involves things like doing a search on LinkedIn or Sales Navigator so that you can actually identify your dream 100 prospects, and then you need to actually go out and essentially knock on doors, shake hands, do the equivalent of introducing yourself to those people and building those relationships. So you are going out and finding these people. Then what we need to actually do then is in this second orbit, what's happening here is that we actually have our own audience. So it's our own audience. So rather than going out and finding them elsewhere, this is actually an audience that have given permission to communicate with them, and you've got a direct line of communication. So the primary thing here is having an email list. Whether it's 20 people or 200 people or 2,000 people, it doesn't matter, but that's your audience. And this means that you can actually email them with a broadcast email and they will all receive it. Same deal for a Facebook group. So there's a few different things here. Could be FB group, but I prefer email as the primary one here. So let's recap. We've got the initial orbit, which is where we're finding people, and orbit two, where we actually have our own audience. Now you can see there's a big difference. In orbit one, it's very manual and methodical. It's effective, but it's a lot of shaking hands, shaking virtual hands, introducing ourselves to people. Whereas if you compare that to having your own audience on an email list or a Facebook group, it's a lot easier and faster and more effective to send an email out to a whole list of subscribers or post something in a Facebook group and everybody can see it versus the one-on-one nature of the first orbit down here. And then as we expand even further, the third orbit, let's see how far out we can take this. The third orbit is where we actually are using other people's audience. So others' audience. And this is really powerful because, well, it's other people's audience. They're sending you traffic. So whether it is Google sending you people from their platform. So when people are typing in a Google search, if you rank on that first page, Google is sending you traffic for free. That's a very great way to tap into other people's audiences. Same deal if you are in a partnership, sometimes called a joint venture or an affiliate relationship, but basically a partnership where somebody else is prepared to email their contacts and introduce you and your services to their audience. So this is really powerful because obviously there's a lot of leverage, there's a lot of scale with this. And this is the third, let's get to here. This is the third orbit of digital marketing. I'll just try and draw that, even though it's pretty messy. So we have got orbit one, where we're finding an audience, orbit two, where we have our own audience, and orbit three, where we have others audience. Now, my final point I want to make on this is in orbit 1, we are basically making the money from your time. So you're literally taking the time to introduce yourself to a whole bunch of people and building that relationship from scratch. In orbit 2, you have a relationship with these people. You can communicate with them directly. You are making the money from your asset. And then thirdly, in the third orbit, we are making the money from leverage. So let me just write that in the bottom bit there. So there you have it. I know that's getting a little bit messy with particularly me in the background. Orbit 1, find your audience, make money from the time you put in. Orbit 2, you built the asset, an email list or a Facebook group. You're making money from that asset that you've built. And orbit 3, you're making money from other people's asset, which means you've got a lot of leverage there as well. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning in to check that out. I'm going to be diving deeper into this IP in some workshops coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. And I'm off to the coast for a week, so I will be in the Facebook group. But anyway, I'm about to pack my bags and head away. It's been great talking to you, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. Let us know what you think of this IP as well. Does the concept of those 3 orbits make sense? All right. See ya.